Well, hello, EKN Nation. Welcome to a new edition of the EKN Debrief. It is episode number 80, Wednesday, May the 5th, 2021. My name is Rob Howden. David Cole, of course, joining us here on the EKN Radio Network as he was trackside for the USPKS Heartland Grand Prix that was run at Newcastle Motorsports Park in Newcastle this past weekend. Looking forward to getting Dave's full debrief here. And those of you who may be new to the debrief, essentially our post-event race report in audio form. Of course, always available for first listening on the EKN Radio Network. If you haven't downloaded the EKN Radio Network app to your mobile device, do that today. Get that done. Just head to iTunes, Google Play, whatever it is to get that app. And then, of course, as well, able to listen to it on all the different podcast platforms that are available. iTunes, Google Play, as I'd said, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Spotify, all available for all the content we put out here on the EKN Radio Network. This week's show, folks, presented by Heartland USA. It all started in 1994 when former kart driver Albino Heartland decided to move his passion for karting from the track to his small workshop. That's when Heartland was born. Heartland USA is North America's source for Heartland products, and we run a factory team at all the major Superkarts USA, USPKS, and Rock Cup USA events. The Heartland chassis lineup for 2021 includes the Invader Shifter, the Le Mans Tag single-speed chassis for junior and senior drivers, and the 28mm Opportunity model for the cadet classes. Get on the chassis that's winning. Drive a Heartland. For more information, head to PearlandUSA.com. All right, David Cole, let's bring you in here, man. You were trackside at Newcastle Motorsports Park. All in all, when we did our Outlap preview podcast, we looked at numbers, pretty decent walk up. We'll go through the entire numbers, but all in all, a pretty solid event for the USPKS.
Yeah, second event of the 2021 season after beginning back in March at the Ocala Grand Prix. Ocala, obviously now a closed facility. So that was the last event, essentially, for all those that were at the United States Pro Kart Series. We headed to Newcastle Motorsports Park for the third and fourth rounds of the 2021 season with the Heartland Grand Prix. Newcastle Motorsports Park has been on the schedule all 9 seasons for the United States Pro Kart Series. So sometimes we visited at the beginning, sometimes in the middle, sometimes at the end. So this one's kind of going to be one of the middle years. But so got to go back to the second home of Howden Media Group / David Cole.
No kidding, right? Your first trip to Newcastle for the year. How many, do you know how many races you're going to be there for?
As of right now, 3.
Just 3 this year, right?
Yeah.
But
you never know.
That's true. There could be more coming. Rounds 3 and 4 of the 8-round championship, as you had said, best of 7 count. So every driver getting at least 1 drop on the season. And as David said, 9th time the USPKS have visited Newcastle. David, racing it all, how was it in terms of red flags? What was the weather like? Give me just an overview of the event itself.
Well, let's start with the weather because that was kind of a key all weekend long.
Okay.
Beginning Wednesday, when everybody was essentially moving in, heavy rains throughout Wednesday evening and Thursday morning.
Oh, that's tough when you're setting up, right?
Especially with the grass area. As we know, the Newcastle Motorsports Park paddock has a grass area. Well, with the torrential amount of rain that came down and drivers trying to push carts back to their paddock area or up to the grid, you're running through lots and lots of mud. So Mike Adams, as he typically does, and his staff at Newcastle stepped up and went out and got some, a bobcat to kind of help smooth out that lane, and then threw down a number of rocks and the broken up concrete that you see throughout the paddock. So was able to do that, and so now with this type of weather, he's looking at maybe possibly adding full runners all the way up and down that grassy area.
Yeah, it's not surprising
for the major events that they do have there year in and year out. Well, so that luckily all the rain weather was gone by Thursday afternoon, and it turned into just basically wind and more wind. Friday and Saturday were pretty heavy with the mile per hour with the wind. Not as bad as what we saw at the Challenge in Americas at Cal Speed. That was like 40 to 60. This was just a steady, probably 15 to 20 miles per hour type winds throughout the day. It just the sun's out, so you think it's warm, but the wind makes it that wind chill drops down the temperature for everybody. But thankfully, no wet weather all weekend long, and the other thankful thing, no red flags all weekend long.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome.
Never had to roll any of the 2 ambulances on site, so that was a good thing all weekend.
Hey, and David, that's probably a pretty cool thing to note in terms of the drivers with no red flags running a different layout that they've ever run as well, right? Sometimes when you run a new layout, people get aggressive and don't think about, maybe don't have experience on where they can and cannot pass at certain places. So that's good to hear that.
Well, yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about the layout itself later and the racing itself, but again, I think it just boils down to the bumpers certainly help eliminate the opportunities for carts to flip over.
Yeah.
I think we did have a few smashed up carts, some rough starts here and there, but no ambulances. A couple of people visiting the ambulance for injuries here and there, but no major incidents or injuries.
Okay, good. As we do with our EKN debrief here, the race report podcast we do on the EKN radio network, David, we always jump early to look at the numbers, right? Because obviously the key to the health of a program is the kind of numbers you have. Plus, we like to look at the different categories to see where the kind of ebbs and flows are for support on all these programs. Of course, USPKS setting a brand new mark, a record mark back at Ocala in March, 293 entries coming into Newcastle here. I think they added a couple of walk-ups. But, David, it's wild when you think the amount of momentum the series has right now. 270 entries in total. The drop-off, 0 drop in X30 Masters, 0 drop in KA100 Senior, 26 drivers again in Masters, 60 in KA100 Senior, exactly the same as Ocala. Single-digit drop-off in the other categories. Always, the opening round always normally gets the most races in any program we see. Then drivers kind of drop off, whatever it may be. But still, David, 270 entries. That's the second largest event, I think, in the USPKS history, correct?
It is the second largest event. So we've had number one in Ocala and number 2 this year at Newcastle. So it's certainly going to be setting up to be what certainly will be a record-breaking season for the United States Pro Kart Series. Because as we kind of talked about in the outlap, I don't see any reason why they would dip below the 200 mark, with a lot of people excited about Road America coming up. Good. And then obviously the GoPro finale, you get tons of local drivers that'll be there. And so I see all 4 events being over that 200 mark for the first time.
And David, pretty good numbers. Like I said, so an obvious drop off, but single digits, like literally 4 less drivers in Micro Swift and Mini Swift each. Still 35 drivers in Micro, 37 in Mini. And you and I harp on it. And you always look at the cadet categories for what the future of a program is going to look like, right? You've got literally, 72 drivers in the cadet classes, in those 2 cadet classes that are going to feed junior, feed pro coming down the line. The biggest drop, and I said no drop at all for Masters and Senior. X30 Masters, KA100 Senior. Only 5 drivers left in the KA100, less in the KA100 Junior class, down to 43. The biggest drop, David, X30 Junior, from 40 down to 31. Any indication? Was there anything in particular why we saw a drop of 9 in that class?
To be honest, I think it's just the factor of location, time, and all that
Good
type
call.
of things.
Yep.
A number of Florida drivers probably didn't come up or sit in that. I mean, it's tough to kind of gauge without actually looking at the names and cross-referencing everything. Yep. So, but yeah, I mean, I think we went in the weekend with 253 pre-entries, so 17 walk-ups.
Nice.
To get it to that 270 mark. They were certainly trying to get a few more. Mark Coates was dangling like a free entry to anybody in the paddock who wanted it. Nobody had any extra carts or any extra engines to do it. So,
all right.
Yep.
All right. Well, listen, folks, we're rolling here. Episode 80 of the EKN Debrief. Hard to imagine we're up to episode 80 now of these post-race preview or post-race report podcasts. Into our first break in the action, we get back. We'll jump into the paddock pass. David has said lots to talk about, new layout for the track, a lot of stuff happening in the paddock as well. And David can comment a little bit on the action that we saw on the racetrack too. Stay with us, folks. More to come on the EKN Debrief. Jenson Button, Jos Verstappen, and Roman Grosjean, all former Techno Kart drivers and champions. Get ready, America, for the Techno Kart invasion. Formed in the 1970s, the Italian manufacturer has new representation in the US, and they're already winning races and championships. Techno Kart USA is owned and operated by top national masters drivers Laurent Mardan and Christian Vaumier, and they are focused on building the new Techno Kart dealer network. The Techno Kart line hits all the different engine platforms in American karting, beginning with the TR28 Special for 4-cycle racing. The TR30 is Techno's chassis for 100cc and 125cc tag competition, and we also have a TR Cadet and Kid Kart for the drivers coming into the younger age groups of the sport. In 2021, Techno Kart USA will be attending the Rock Cup Florida Winter Tour, the United States Pro Kart Series and Route 66 programs, the Rock the Rio and SCUSA Super Nationals in Las Vegas, and will continue to support our home track, the Badger Kart Club. Race-winning Arrive and Drive programs are available, and kart shops interested in adding a new quality chassis to their lineup should contact us today. Be sure to follow Techno Kart USA LLC on Facebook and Instagram. The Briggs & Stratton 206 engine is where out-of-the-box ease and outstanding consistency meet to create legendary races. Briggs & Stratton's history in motorsports dates back to when the first engines came off the assembly line in the early 1900s. Their focus on the grassroots level continues to help build generations of racers. Since 2008, the Briggs & Stratton 206 has gained a following that has the engine powering the largest fields in North American karting today. From the club level of track programs to traveling regional series and national events, Briggs & Stratton competition provides the most exciting racing in the sport. Engineered and hand-built exclusively for racing, every Briggs & Stratton 206 engine is power tested and serialized before it goes in the box. Karters can take that engine straight from the box to their kart and be on the podium at the end of race day. Be sure to follow Briggs & Stratton Racing on Facebook and through @RaceBriggs on Instagram. To learn more about the 206 engine or to find a North American dealer near you, head to BriggsRacing.com. Briggs & Stratton Racing. What powers you? Welcome back, EKN Nation, to episode 80 of the EKN Debrief. It's Wednesday, May the 5th, Cinco de Mayo. David Cole giving us the full rundown of the USPKS Heartland Grand Prix from Newcastle Motorsports Park, second event in the 2021 schedule. Jumping now into the Paddock Pass, presented by Trinity Karting Group. Trinity Karting Group is your first step on the ladder to success. Based at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, they literally have a track in their backyard in a controlled environment to develop your skills. Trinity Karting Group flattens out the steep learning curve with a professional staff that will put you on the right path. The focus is driver development, and they compete at the local, regional, and national levels. They have new and used packages available, and they are your Midwest source for Tony Kart parts and OTK parts, as well as IAME engines. Visit them at teamtkg.com or call 513-421-4463. All right, David, loads to talk about here. First and foremost, a brand new layout being used by the USPKS this weekend.
Yes, a new layout for them really is what it boils down to, because all 8 years previously, the national layout at Newcastle was used by the United States Pro Kart Series. This weekend, we did what was called the backwards one layout, which essentially was a national layout, but in the clockwise direction, including the Monza section that we get to use at the Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals. So certainly a different layout for majority of the competitors that were there. Racers took advantage of the Route 66 Sprint Series race that was there a few weeks ago, and then the weekend before that, this race was the KRA club event. So a number of competitors got adjusted to the layout and the way it worked. Certainly, I think this layout, as we saw with the Pro Tour last year in the backwards direction, provides a lot better racing overall, especially on that final lap. You don't have that draft wait and see till the very, very end type scenarios. You see a lot of guys, picking and choosing where they're going to pass on the last lap. Guys running that defensive line here and there, or, just a lot of, so it provided a lot more drama in terms of the actual full final lap, I think, instead of what you're typically used to seeing in the counterclockwise direction with the long, draft down to I-70 and you draft back down to the checkered flag.
Yeah,
the checkered flag was actually on the long straightaway, so not what SCUSA Pro Tour did, which was move it to that original start-finish line.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they actually had it on what is now the new start-finish line that has been there on that long back straightaway. So we got, you didn't quite get to see, a lot of people were up on the hill there along the garages, got to see the finishes there. But if you're in the grill area or anything like that, it's very hard to see the finish.
Sure enough. Yeah. All right. Let's, Dave, I think one of the big things, obviously, coming out the last couple of months is some updates to the IAME X30 program. And I know that you have notes here that that they actually debuted a number of those new components with the USPKS event.
Yeah, that's been kind of the talk with the IAME program, dealing with the COVID situation and implementing to bring the X30 package up to the worldwide standards. That includes the single piece exhaust system, so no more flex, the new electronics that is utilized worldwide, along with the airbox as well. So the exhaust was the only thing that was mandatory on the weekend, and is going to be implemented throughout the year. The electronics, the airbox, and the main bearing rollers in the bottom end, those are all optional. So competitors didn't have to use that. Looking at the electronic side of things, a majority, I think maybe one or two did not have the new electronics, had the old system set up, but majority were on the new electronics. So in airboxes, it's kind of hit or miss. Some people were on the new, some people were on the old. So a little bit of that. So obviously you can't tell the main bearing roller. We can't get inside the engines.
No data on that right now, folks.
Sorry no data on that. But, looking at it, some people, they're happy with it, obviously, with, not dealing with flexes. So it kind of helps, provide a little bit more of parity between the engines where they're very, very similar, not a lot of tuning. Now, I think the emphasis now is going to be on carburetor. A lot of people, trying to find the right carb setup that works with what the exhaust is doing, with the way it's, obviously it's a different setup than what engine builders are used to. So a lot of competitors getting adjusted, and we'll see how that transpires as the season goes on.
Sounds good. Well, I was at the SCUSA Winter Nationals at NOLA having a little chat with Sean Bailiff, and since then, some pretty interesting news for Trinity Karting Group as well. I saw some stuff on social media that they've made a relationship come together with Kart Republic.
They have, Kart Sport North America, the importer for the Kart Republic brand. They're working now with Trinity as one of the newer dealers. So Trinity Karting Group is adding to their stable of products that are available through their Southwest Ohio facility. They do the OTK products, they do Burrell Art, and now they've added Kart Republic. So not only for the race team are they providing racers with the opportunity to race on what they want, but they're also looking at it as a track and a kart shop right there at the racetrack to provide multiple products for their competitors. So not everybody is on the same thing overall, but majority of their X30 and KA senior competitors were on the Kart Republic, but still some drivers under the OTK brand under that tent as well. So that was pretty cool to see and watch as it developed throughout the weekend.
Yeah, it's for me, and I know you said that I've talked about this. Just watching the development of Trinity Karting Group over the last number of years, expanding from where they were. The initial focus, obviously before the motorsports, they purchased the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati and have turned that into a program there with their own Pro-Am series. All the work that they did at Newcastle Motorsports Park, supporting the KRA program there and traveling up to those events, expanding from that club program into regional racing and up into the national program. Still having that club and regional effort as well. I just think that Sean Bailiff and his family have done such a tremendous job with Trinity Karting Group, and I'd like to see the development for that program throughout the year and throughout the coming years. I just think they're going to be such a foundation company in the sport over the next 10 to 15 years and beyond. David, in your notes here, Fernando Alonso Kart coming out. Fill me in on that a little bit. I know about the chassis, but who put it on the racetrack this weekend?
Yeah, again, their Kart Republic is now the manufacturer for the Fernando Alonso kart. That happened last year, but now obviously due to COVID, they're just now getting that product over here into the United States. Talking with Eric Jones, at Kart Sport, he's gotten with Millrock out of Wisconsin, who used to be with Blake Wankowski, used to be the old Praga importer back in a few years ago.
Yeah, you're right.
And also working with Fox and Son on the East Coast. They are the two exclusive dealers right now for the Fernando Alonso kart for the 2021 season. So they had a couple of drivers, Aiden Fox on one, along with, I believe, Stephen Dial in KA 100 Senior. So very similar to what the Kart Republic design and components, very similar to what you see with the Will Power kart program as well. So just another brand to add to the stable. And again, ours, as you imagine, actually had the Alonso kart colors on his bodywork, but it was still a standard Kart Republic colored frame.
Copy. Okay. Folks, those who may be new again to the debrief, our paddock pass is kind of not looking at the race reports. We'll get into that after the next break. But we kind of look at what's happening within the paddock, that kind of thing, maybe some commentary on the event itself. David, what else did you see walking through the paddock throughout the weekend?
Well, something we knew from Ocala, talking with Nick Tucker at Nitro Kart, was a new hauler that the team purchased to take the race team across the eastern coast and across the country as well. So they have a new 18-wheeler, full setup now for the race team, putting all the race team members underneath it, rather than I think they have maybe 18 different easy ups at Ocala. So
I hear you.
just a new step up for the Nitro Kart program that continues to keep growing, and
good for them.
And so they're adjusting to their new home, and I'm sure we'll see it adjusted more as the season goes on.
What else did you see there? I know one of the cool things down at St. Petersburg was the announcement that Sebastian and Oliver Weldon were going to be joining Andretti Autosport in a partnership program there. What else you got for the Weldon family?
Yeah, I think that's helped triggered something that's going on, possible film being made about the Weldon family. And so they had a film crew actually at the Newcastle Motorsports Park following the Weldon family, both Sebastian and Oliver, along with Susie. Basically, they're all, I want to say they were there all 3 days. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, kind of, getting in footage of them racing, footage off the track, and other things involved with their karting weekend. So we'll see what happens with that. And I believe they're going to be at Road America as well too. So we'll see.
Well, good for the Weldons and the boys, and obviously good for the sport as well. Any kind of collateral exposure we get for karting. The Weldons, of course, have a lot of focus through Andretti Autosport. Their Papa Dan, so obviously it's going to help the sport.
I had a funny conversation because I went inside, I think it was Saturday, to grab some lunch, and the Weldon boys were there talking with the guy from JC. I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Okay.
Debriefing their pre-finals or something. And, the camera crews were obviously all around there, and we had to work around them to get in line for lunch. And I'm talking to Connor Zillage, and I'm like, hey, were you around when that Kart Life program was going on? Well, he was still in kid karts back then. So that tells you how long that it has been since that program started.
Yeah, that's wild. All right, Dave, I mentioned commentary as part of the paddock pass. Overall, from your standpoint, what were your thoughts on the racing on the weekend before we jump into the race report? Just give me your overall thoughts of the racing.
Well, the general consensus around the paddock it was pretty aggressive. Now I'm going to eliminate X30 Pro. I think that category was pretty pretty tame and pretty professional as we typically see with that category. A couple incidents here and there, obviously, but nothing too outrageous. I think everything else that and micro was really good, there too. But it was just a lot of the lack of racecraft. That was kind of the key around the paddock. Guys just making unnecessary moves or just the way that and we'll talk about it more in the race report, how drivers were just able to drive away because they're not working together to go run down the leader, or they're letting the leader run away because they can't settle in and get working together in order for them to challenge for the victory or for the lead. So so KA 100, a lot of 60 karts on the track. You're going to see a lot of bumper to bumper racing. You get that bottleneck up at the start, but just a little bit aggressive in that category, more than what we're used to seeing. I don't know if it's just because everything's so tight, and there's not a lot of give or take in that category because it's a lot about momentum. Rather, X30 Pro, it's not so much about the momentum.
Yeah, I hear you.
So a little bit. I think in those in the junior category is a little bit aggressive, and then just lack of racecraft, especially in the mini division. Just drivers just not kind of working together and wanting to just pass every corner. And it's frustrating to see, but it was certainly a common theme talking to a lot of the veteran drivers that were there as mechanics or driver coaching there this weekend.
Copy. All right, folks, second break in the action here. When we get back, time to jump into the race report. After this break, we'll talk X30 Pro. We'll talk X30 Junior. David will get rolling with his race reports. Stay with us. More to come. Leading Edge Motorsports is the industry answer to winning in karting. At the helm is industry veteran Greg Bell, who has orchestrated the success of many drivers dating back to the mid-1990s. Based in Lodi, California, Leading Edge Motorsports is the Western importer with IP karting that includes the Praga and Formula K chassis brands. Leading Edge Motorsports provides in-depth driver development for those racers in Northern California and across the country. Arrive and drive services, kart preparation, and driver coaching are available under the LEM tent throughout the season. Bell's record of working with drivers includes recent victories at North America's biggest karting events, including the Rock the Rio and the SCUSA Super Nationals. Greg Bell's knowledge for building engines spans 2 decades and is now under the Mega Power branding, providing a reliable engine service and tuning knowledge. No matter the chassis brand, choose Mega Power to get to the front. Click over to leadingedgemotorsports.com for more and find them on social media to stay connected. At Leading Edge Motorsports, winning never gets old.
Are you ready to make the jump from karting to race cars? Then check out the top-rated Allenberg Racing Schools at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca in Monterey, California, led by former Formula One World Championship driver Alan Berg. Whether you're starting a racing career, looking for a new adventure, honing your driving skills, or seeking an unforgettable experience driving the world-famous corkscrew, our team of professional coaches and proven curriculum will provide you with everything you need to drive our race cars to the limit. Programs in 2021 include 1-day, 2-day, and 3-day schools. Successful graduates earn their certification to apply for a SCCA racing license. For schedules and more information, check out our website, allenbergracingschools.com, or call us at 888-722-3220. Custom group and corporate programs also available.
Welcome back to episode 80 of the EKN Debrief. David Cole giving us a full race report of the USPKF's Heartland Grand Prix from Newcastle Motorsports Park, the second event of their 2021 schedule. Into the race report now, brought to you by Alan Rudolph Racing Academy. If you want to improve your results, it's time for professional instruction and coaching at the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy. Located at the state-of-the-art Speed Sports Racing Park just north of Houston, the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy offers custom coaching programs for newcomers and experienced racers alike. Train with a champion with over 30 years of racing experience to get proven results. Get ready for the big races by training with the best. Reserve your dates now by calling 866 607-7223. All right, David, let's get into the meat of this deal. X30 Pro, time to go to the race report. You actually have separate headlines laid up here for Saturday and Sunday. Let's start with the Saturday headline. Norberg returns to top of the podium for first time since 2015.
It's been a long drought at the United States Pro Kart Series for Ryan Norberg.
It's wild for you to say that to me.
It is. It is. Right? We have a 4-time SCUSA Pro Tour champion, but he did take his time away from the USPKS program. He was there as a junior, moved up to the pro category when he first became a senior driver, and it was back in I want to say maybe it was May, or maybe it was a June race, but back in 2015 at Michiana Raceway Park when Ryan Norberg won on a PCR with Checkered Motorsports.
Oh, whoa!
So that's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while, no doubt.
But it was good to see him back up front. This was the Ryan Norberg we're used to seeing over that 2016 to 2019 run that he had. Obviously 2020 was kind of that asterisk year where, it was very tough to try and defend a SCUSA Pro Tour championship at one racetrack.
Agreed.
So now we're seeing, kind of back to normal, especially at the USPKS where we're going to have 4 different racetracks, 8 rounds of racing. And Norberg certainly put himself in position to contend for his first series championship with a good performance on Saturday, round number 3. Set fast time in qualifying and was able to come out as the pre-final winner. Main event, Norberg started on the pole position and took advantage of that as Brandon Tyner and Brandon Jarzakrak got shuffled up as they exited the Monza. This allowed Norberg to get away early, but our Rollison Performance Group and Cosmic Driver teammate, Hannah Greenmeyer, picked up the pace, was able to get into that second position and essentially run him down. The two battled it out on the final circuit, and as they battled, that allowed Connor Zillage to pull up just in the final corners to be kind of right there, but not there enough to be able to make any kind of move, as Norberg was able to edge out Greenmeyer at the line by 85 thousandths of a second. Greenmeyer in second, and then Connor Zillage almost in a 3-wide photo finish in third. Paulie Massimino was able to drive up to 4th, with Oliver Hodgson making his first start of the 2021 season aboard the comp cart, coming over from Britain to finish 5th.
Good to see Oliver back. Dave, hard charger based on your notes. John Burke for the PSL Karting Burrell Art guys, 24 spots, 35th to 11th. What happened in the pre-final for Burke to go start so deep?
I'm assuming I wasn't sure on that that result, but I'm assuming a DNF in the pre-final. Not sure if it was contact. I think it was, if I recall correctly, and was able to get the 24 spots up to 11th. So good,
solid run though, right? Man.
Yeah, especially against that field, for sure.
I was just going to say exactly the same thing. And that quality of field, for him to be able to come forward, good run for John. Let's move to the Sunday headline. Zillage becomes first 2-time winner of the season.
Yeah, that's it. That was a talk, and he proved me wrong. I went to see them Saturday night, and I talked about how I said on the outlap, I thought this category was going to have 8 different winners on the year. Right. And him and his dad said, well, we hope to prove you wrong tomorrow. And they certainly did that. Norberg came out as the top qualifier on the day, but Zillage was able to come through with the pre-final win. Early fight on for the lead, but Zillage was able to kind of get away and basically pace the field the entire distance, driving away to a 1.2 second margin of victory. The fight behind him was for second, really, with Norberg and Greenmeyer going at it. Norberg was able to get that position ahead of his teammate. So that both Rollison Performance Group drivers got on the podium both days, along with Zillage getting a podium on both days. Paulie Massimino ended up finishing 4th for a second straight day, with Arzu Medjian bouncing back on the Kart Republic to finish 5th. It was just not a weekend for Duke Medjian, but was able to kind of fight back on Sunday in the main event.
Let's go to hard charger. Impressive. We talked about John Burke on Saturday, 24 spots. How about Louis Westover for Solo Kart USA, David? A pre-final DNF. Starts 38th, drives up to 7th, 31 spots. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was a solid drive. He didn't quite have the pace Saturday, so they had to have made some good changes. Obviously, getting punted off in the pre-final certainly didn't help things. Gave him, obviously a little bit of better tire situation going into the main event, but be able to pick up 31 spots in 16 laps, that says a lot about Louis Westover and the setup they had on that solo kart.
David, $9,000 up for grabs for the top 3 drivers. Ryan Norberg coming away with the big cash, $5,000 for his performance at Newcastle.
Yes, these are all based on the just the main event, so not the overall weekend, but just the main event results. So Norberg gets the edge over Zillage based on the tiebreaker, with Hannah Greenmeyer finishing in 3rd. She's taking home $1,500, with Zillage taking home the $2,500 check.
Yeah, big payday for all 3 of those drivers. Let's go down to X30 Junior, and here's your headline. Ingrata and Gaffera earn series firsts.
Yeah, this category was certainly one to watch all weekend long, and especially on Saturday, where the main event was a wild finish on the last lap and last corner. Logan Toke actually stepped up his game, making the move over to the Tony Kart with our Ryan Perry Motorsport. Actually raced over at the WSK Supermaster finale with Ward Racing, so he's making that transition over to the Tony Kart. Certainly picked up the pace and set the fast time on qualifying, but Jack Jeffers was able to edge him out for the win in the pre-final. They were essentially the top 2 in the main event, with a few drivers trailing behind them until the last lap. The Monza was certainly a busy section of the race course, and where a lot of drivers took advantage or were disadvantaged there. Yeah. And unfortunately for Toke, he was pushed off at the Monza and pushed off into the grass. So essentially lost the lead and lost the lead group, ended up finishing in 9th. Jeffers took the lead from that spot and held it through with some defensive line around the final corners. They came up to the last turn. Now, again, that's right there in front of the Champions Club, which would essentially be turn 1 in the normal direction. And again, bottled up everybody behind him. And I have this great photo because I was going to get a photo finish. Well, I just happened to be there to get that last corner. There was literally 7 carts about 3 wide trying to jostle for position, including Jeffers kind of holding up the train as much as he could. And Jeffers was able to get up to the line first. Unfortunately, a 2-position penalty for avoidable contact dropped Jeffers off the top of the podium. The crazy part about it was, so that would move Jeremy Fletcher, who kind of moved around some things. He was going to be given the victory. A 2-position penalty for pushback bumper that dropped him off the top of the podium. This moved Aiden Ingrata, who was actually 7th as they entered the last corner, to move up to the top of the podium. So I looked at the photo. I'm like, he wasn't anywhere near anything, and he actually started 11th. But he was up to 7th at that point. And in the final corner, because everybody was jostling so hard for position, he came across the line in what I want to believe there was a 3rd position. And then with the penalties, was handed the victory.
Wow. So the two position penalty for avoidable contact to Jeffers, was he the one that got in the back of Toke in the Monza?
That's what I was not able to confirm or deny that. I'm going to assume that because I don't recall seeing anything else other than that. So it could be that, or it could have been another point in the race.
Wild finish. So what? Ingrata with the win. Max Garcia ends up in 2nd.
So Max Garcia ends up in 2nd, with Jeffers obviously getting the penalty. He moves down to 3rd. Fletcher moves down to 4th with his 2-position penalty for the pushback bumper. Okay. So again, a wild finish. Paul Bocuse was right there along with Caleb Gaffar. And Michael Costella was actually in the grass, and I actually had to stop shooting because he was pointed directly at me. So I hustled my way out of the way as he actually crossed the line in the grass back in 7th.
Man, all right then, little excitement. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, you figure 7 drivers within a half of a second crossing the line.
That's awesome. A hard charger, Lucas Szabo, the Tony Kart driver, up 14 spots, 29th up into 15th. David, jumping into Sunday, it looks to me, just based on the notes here, a couple of guys stepping forward, Caleb Gaffera being one of the drivers who kind of turned things up on Sunday.
Yeah, Gaffar was kind of there Saturday, as we mentioned. He was in the mix there. Could have been in the podium, but that wild last lap, last corner action kind of shuffled him back to the sixth position. Sunday was a different story for him, as he was able to step up and get clear of everybody, especially through winning the pre-final. Starting on the pole position, was able to avoid all the chaos that kind of happened behind him. Championship leader Jeremy Fletcher was the top qualifier, was among those starting at the front, but he was involved in a turn one wreck that included Jeffers and a few others. I believe Chase Hand was one of them. Fletcher actually had the whole front end of the kart destroyed, so he wasn't able to record a single lap in the main event.
That'll be a drop.
So that wreck and and more jostling for position behind Gaffar allowed him to establish a good lead early. Max Garcia eventually put himself into the second spot, made a little bit of a late charge, but just was not enough to close up on the bumper of Gaffar, with Caleb G getting his first series victory and only his, I believe, third start in the junior ranks.
Yeah, good for him. Been doing a lot of racing. Doing a lot of racing overseas.
First USPS start in the junior ranks. I believe he made a few starts, obviously, in Europe. I'm not sure if he did a winter tour race or not.
Yeah, well, a solid run, as you said. Rowan Gill finishing third, David, the hard charger. Started 17th, able to work his way up from, started 20th, up 17 spots to P3, obviously taking advantage of that turn one wreck, but nonetheless, a good run for Rowan from 20th onto the podium.
Yeah, still a good run for him. Actually was almost the quickest driver on the racetrack. That actually was Jack Jeffers, who was involved in that opening turn one wreck. He was actually fell back to the 21st position after that opening circuit.
Wow.
So you could essentially call him a hard charger as well.
Yeah.
Gaining those 17 spots to get back up to fourth by the time the checkered flag waved.
And David, we'll see this as when you give us up the guys that got the cash. Jeffers and Garcia, the only two drivers to finish in the top five both races. Jeffers was fourth, as you said. Christian Miles on a Cosmic, rounding out the top five in the Sunday main event. Let's run through the guys that were able to take the cash with the points combined from the main events.
Yeah, as you said, Garcia with two runner-up finishes. That certainly is the best record of the weekend. Yet he didn't score a victory, but gets to take home the $2,500 paycheck. Caleb Gaffar finishing first and sixth gets him second overall for the two main events. That's a $1,500 payday. And then Jack Jeffers taking home third with $750.
All right, there you go. First two categories of the race report. When we get back, we'll do KA100 Senior, KA100 Junior, and X30 Masters. We'll be back with more debrief after this break.
Born from an idea years ago of the late founder of Tag USA, Tom Argy, to promote an event with multiple organizations working together, utilizing standardized rules, fair and affordable racing with great awards for the benefit of the racers, a one-of-a-kind event was born, the U.S. Karting Grand Prix. Promoted by Tag USA, CES, WKA, Northern California Karters, Puget Sound Road Racing Association, and the Puget Sound Go-Kart Association, this event is truly a team effort. More than just a kart race, this unique event brings sprint and road racing together for 3 days, July 23rd through the 25th, at the beautiful Utah Motorsports campus just outside of Salt Lake City. Sprint racing featuring Briggs, 100cc, tag, and shifter categories for all age groups. Road racing on the East Road Racing Track, hosting all the regular road racing classes Saturday and Sunday with all-day Friday practice. Highlighting the weekend will be pro racing in sprint with the pro shifter category, offering a winner-take-all cash prize of $5,000. The road racing track showcases the introduction of the Superkart Shootout. 4 Superkart races all weekend, with the highest points finisher receiving a cash prize of $2,500. Be part of the karting event of the summer of 2021. Registration, regulations, hotel discounts, and more information is available now at www.uskartinggrandprix.com.
All over the karting world, everyone knows OTK is the gold standard for quality and performance. In the US, OTK USA is the source for all things OTK. From the legendary Tony Kart brand to the race-winning Cosmic and Prix chassis, and now the new Red Speed and EOS brands, OTK quality is second to none. All 5 brands are winning races and championships across the country in national programs like the Ruck Cup USA Florida Winter Tour and the Challenge of the Americas, the SCUSA Pro Tour and Winter Series, and the Pro Kart Challenge, the United States Pro Kart Series, and the WKA Manufacturers Cup. And OTK products are also front and center on the podium of club and regional races from coast to coast. To learn more about a specific product line, you can find the OTK USA dealer near you, whether it's Tony Kart, Cosmic, Prix, Red Speed, or EOS. Visit www.otkusa.com. Specific chassis territories are still available, so kart shops interested in adding a winning component to their product lineups can contact OTK USA directly. Welcome back to episode number 80 of the EKN Debrief here on the EKN Radio Network. Rob Howden and David Cole providing you the insight on the most recent USPKS event, the Heartland Grand Prix from Newcastle. The event taking place right at the end of April, start of May. Alan Rudolph Racing Academy, the sponsor of our race report for this edition of the Debrief. And now, David, time to jump into KA100 Senior 60 drivers, 6-0. An amazing field for the KA100 Senior class. And here's the headline. Zilich earns second as Duke Medjian grabs first.
Yeah, Zilich continues that win streak of earning at least one victory in each of the categories he races on the weekend. So was able to continue that into after this past weekend. Connor Ferris came out as the top qualifier, putting down a solid lap in qualifying. Unfortunately, he was shuffled back and out of the race in the pre-final. In that race, it was Hayden Jones on the Red Speed with Nitro Kart able to score the win. Main event, though, was mostly Zilich as he led majority of the laps. An early shuffle for the lead saw him lose the position but gain it right back. And then a fight for second behind him allowed to give him enough space to drive away to a 1-second victory. Behind him was a solid race for second involving, I want to say, about 6 to 7 drivers. AJ Myers, 2-time SCUSA Pro Tour shifter kart champion, was able to secure the runner-up position ahead of Hayden Jones. Brandon Lemke was able to drive up to the 4th position with Nolan Allison on the RPG Cosmic in the 5th spot.
I know that the KA100 senior category isn't involved in our EKN driver rankings for tag, but just seeing what Zilich was able to do in the X30 senior category, and just what he continues to do in his senior debut year here, David. P6 after Q1 in our driver rankings. Any projection of where he's going to be after Q2? Like, this kid's on fire right now.
I'm sure this weekend is going to help. Getting that victory along with the was it a third or second? I can't remember. Sorry.
I'll scroll up. I got you. He was a winner in race number third, on Sunday and a third. Yes. So just add those to his points.
So that's certainly going to help. Unfortunately, Ryan Norberg is number 1.
That's right.
But again, a lot of the majority of his points are from the Pro Tour last year, which was all in August. So again, stop looking at right now it's just kind of keeping you updated as to who's improving, who's declining.
Yep.
But really it's all going to boil down to when we get to September and when we, kind of eliminate that the Pro Tour Summer Festival that we had
100%
in August, because that was all 6 rounds of racing right there. We want to make sure we keep it standardized as we always have, despite the issues surrounding COVID-19. You talked about maybe moving, 2 of those dates back to March and 2 of them to May. But I think we kind of have to keep with it as it happens on that calendar year.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see. I think Zilich is putting good numbers down. It's going to be because I wanted to bring up the fact that this kid's really been on fire. I don't think in my 20-something years of doing this, I've ever seen somebody be this strong in their debut senior program. That it's just out of the gate, so impressive. Did you mention the hard charger yet? Connor Ferris, 43 spots, 58th to 15th. Man, that would have been fun to call.
Yeah, that DNF in the pre-final put him back a ways, 58th, as you mentioned, and so he was able to show good speed and keep his bumper clean all the way up to the 15th spot in 14. So 43 spots in just 14 laps.
There are some guys that don't pass 43 guys in a year, especially the guys up front, right? That's amazing. What a run for him. Well done.
Well, again, it's because we're at Newcastle, we have that ability to have the 60 carts on the track. Otherwise, he would have had to have gone through an LCQ if we were at Ocala or even any other smaller of the circuits we go to.
David, big run for Ferris, Zilich, as you said on Saturday. But in the headline, you talked about Dukmejian coming through to grab his first US PKS win of the year. Give me the rundown on Sunday.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a drive based off aggression. Dukmejian was unable to start Saturday's main event from the 4th position after a steering shaft broke while on grid. They're not quite sure exactly what happened, if they left a clip undone or something in the bearing broke, but was not able to start the race due to finding that out. So he drove with a lot of aggression, and you could see it in the pace that he put down on Sunday. Aiden Levy was able to set fast time, but aside from that, it was all Dukmejian all day long. Drove away in the pre-final to the victory, and then essentially was on a mission, leading wire to wire. And now, mind you, if you look at his lap times in the 14-lap race, he got quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker. And on that last lap was the only driver to be able to clock in a minute 12 lap time throughout the 14-lap main event. So on his last circuit, putting down the fastest lap of the race to establish nearly a 9-second lead over Connor Zilich.
That's kind of crazy, isn't it? To be able to win by almost 9 seconds over that field.
Well, again, didn't run a main event, so he had the tires little bit better because, again, they run the one set all weekend long. So
yeah, you're right. Good point.
But I think a lot of it has to do with just the aggression and overcoming what happened. Not having a great weekend in the X30 category, and then coming back from that DNS in the Saturday main event in this category. So I just think he just was like he put all the chips in and just went after it.
So give us a little rundown. So Zilich ends up finishing second. What else we got for the top 5?
Yeah, Zilich essentially drove away with the second position. A good fight for the final spot on the podium with a number of drivers. Thomas Annunziata up 14 spots to be able to grab that third position on the final circuit. He was able to beat out Allison and Connor Ferris for the position.
So let's double up on the Ferrises here in the hard charge. We talked about Connor getting up 43 spots from 58th to 15th on Saturday. On Sunday, Tyler Ferris goes up 45 spots, 57th to 12th. That is 88 positions gained from the two Ferrises over Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, bragging rights goes to Tyler. He got 45 spots compared to
look what I just did.
43.
Yeah, look what I just did. 43 spots. Oh, yeah? Hold my beer.
Well, sparkling champagne. How about that?
Good for you. Hold my my Monster Energy.
That Monster Energy. Yeah, whatever is your preferred. Hold my Sprite.
Hey, bottom line is, dude, another 57th to 12th. Another tremendous run for this time, Tyler Ferris.
Yeah, it certainly was. So it's good to see them. They have the speed. They just haven't been able to put in the results. So I think that shows that they certainly do have the speed. They just need a little bit of racing luck to keep themselves in the hunt for the podiums the rest of the year.
That's it. They've been good all year, man. They were good last year. Like I said, we mentioned them in the outlap, both Connor and Tyler, so I'm sure they'll be in the fight as well at Road America. Let's go to KA100 Junior right now. David, here's the headline. Weldon and Hand take home first series victories.
Yeah, a number of first on the weekend, certainly in a number of the categories. This one, we thought we could have seen a new winner with Graham Trammell. Graham Trammell came out in qualifying with the fast lap, and he and Chase Hand, both RPG teammates, were the top of the drivers in the pre-final. Hand actually getting the edge at the checkered flag. They were joined by Sebastian Weldon Sebastian and Jack Jeffers. Graham Trammell was actually pushed back in the main event, and so was unable to finish that. Basically, this boiled down to a last lap battle. As they went into the scoreboard corner in the backwards direction, a little bit of contact between Jeffers and Hand slowed their pace. That allowed Sebastian Weldon to essentially get around both of them and scoot away to score the victory. Hand actually spun around sideways, but was able to rejoin. He fell down to the 6th position as Jeffers ended up winning or crossing the line in the 2nd position. That contact allowed Helio Meza to move up to 3rd, along with Cooper Shipman, both under the Iron Rock Motorsports tent, finishing 3rd and 4th, with Noah Baker ended up in the 5th position.
A little correction. Elio Mesa, like Elio Castroneves. He's named after Elio Castroneves.
Elio.
I remember talking Elio.
I know. I say it how I spell it. It's okay.
Yeah, Elio. Let's spell it with E, not an H. Got to do it right, baby. Come on. Let's talk about your hard charger, David. This one, 32nd up to 9th for Addison Ianello.
Yeah, we talked about her in the outlap, picking up some wins at the Route 66 program.
Yeah.
Didn't quite get the weekend she wanted, but was able to charge forward in the main event, getting 13 spots, 32nd to 19th in the 14-lap main event.
All right, let's move into Sunday right now. Like you said, big win for Weldon coming out of the gate. It looks like he was quick as well on Sunday.
Sunday was a little bit of a different story. As we each of the sessions, we had kind of one driver stand out.
All right.
Qualifying was Weldon. Pre-final ended up being Chase Hand getting away from everybody. We thought there was going to be a bit of a battle early on with Weldon right there on Hand early on, but eventually Hand was just able to kind of break away and essentially just lead the entire distance of 14 laps to what is now his first USBKS victory by more than 5 seconds. Weldon was sitting there with Trammell fighting for the 2nd spot. They got a little bit together, and as they did, Meza came up and actually hit Trammell and knocked Trammell off the racetrack, and so he ended up with a DNF on the final lap. As they came across the line, Noah Baker was able to get by all of them to finish up in the 2nd spot with Weldon in 3rd. Meza actually crossed the line in the 4th position, but was dropped to the 8th spot for a 4-position penalty for avoidable contact. That moved Jeremy Fletcher, the 2-time Ocala winner, to the 4th position, with Parker DeLong moving up to 5th.
Let's look at the hard chargers for this one. Looks like I got a couple down here, David. Two big runs.
Yeah, I put obviously the one with the most being Fernando Luke. I don't know. 27 spots, 40th to 13th. But the majority of the time I was kind of watching Aiden Rudolph. Rudolph actually charged forward in the pre-final, but suffered a DNF on the last lap. So he had to start back in the 36th position for the main event, and almost where he started the pre-final, and made his way almost up to the top 15, I want to say, in the pre-final. This time, starting 36th in the main event, got up 26 spots to 10th. Probably should have had a couple more there at the end, but was only able to get up to 10th at the checkered flag. But a pretty good run for him after some issues in qualifying in the pre-final.
It sounds like a pretty busy day overall. Passing 50 guys over 2 races.
Yeah, I was going to say about at least 40 carts over the 2 races.
Wow. All right. Let's move to the X30 Masters class. Here's the headline: Roberts and Renato Jader David make 4 different winners in 4 rounds.
Have we come up with a nickname for Renato?
No, we should call him just like RJD or something like that.
That's kind of what I like to do in my notes. It's easier than writing all RJD names. RJD. It's almost like the wrestler. But I can't remember the guy's name. But it's been a while.
Yeah.
So Saturday actually looked like it was going to be a hometown driver of David Galwina, the 2019 series champion, able to kind of pace the tying record Masters field of 26 drivers. David certainly had the pace all day long. Unfortunately, a little bit of contact with he and Renato Jader David on lap 2 in the old turn 2 sent both drivers off the racetrack. A little bit of an aggressive move by Renato. So sent both of them off in the racetrack. Renato actually ended up with a DNF after he pulled in, while Galawina actually drove from the tail of the field up to 12th in the main event, but certainly could have been a victory for him had it not be for that contact. Following the contact, that allowed Mario Barrios, one of our Ocala winners, to drive away, but eventually he was run down by a group of 4. Among them was Scott Roberts. Roberts was able to take the lead with about 3 laps to go and was able to hold on through the final few laps to score the victory, his first on the season. Barrios ended up in the second position with Derek Wang coming up to third in his first USBKS event. Laurentiu Mardan on the Technokart certainly was right there with the leaders, just one spot short of that podium, with Miguel Mir in the 5th position.
Yeah, look at that top 5. The names: Roberts, Barrios, Wang, Mardan, Mir. There's a lot of regional and national championships right in there. And interesting, David, I was kind of following, obviously, on the weekend through social media. You were posting on Twitter and Facebook, and I remember seeing come out of the gate on Saturday, looking at the results you were posting, that Galawina looked really strong. So kind of disappointed for him that not able to show what the pace he had on Saturday. What about Hard Charger for X30 Masters on Saturday?
Yeah, Scott Carapoletti up 11 spots from 26th to the 15th spot. One unique thing about the Masters field at the end of Saturday, if you looked at all their fast laps from that race, I think all of the top 20 were within 1 second.
Wow.
So it was certainly a very challenging field on the weekend for sure.
Yeah, on a challenging layout too, right? Not like it's an easier layout that you can kind of get close on. That's
exactly.
Impressive. Let's go to Sunday. You talked about the fact that Renato Jader David, RJD, had some troubles on Saturday, but it seems to me like, again, watching you on social media, what you were posting, it seemed to be in a pretty good place on Sunday.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to be either he or Barrios that was going to be coming out with the victory. Both of them wanted to control things out the front. RJD was able to set fast time in qualifying, but it was Barrios able to get him in the pre-final for the win there. Both of them led early in the main event. They kind of exchanged positions here and there, and that allowed a little bit of the rest of the group to kind of keep close. And the driver, everybody was kind of watching and keep an eye on, at least I was, with Derek Wang, basically picking him off. Once they got past that halfway, started picking off the drivers in that lead group with pretty good power down that long straightaway towards I-70, was able to get by Barrios and then able to get by RJD with fast laps of the race. He was leading on the last lap until Renato dove inside at the Monza. That kind of shuffled things up and allowed Barrios to dive inside at the scoreboard. A little contact between them, along with Roberts, kind of shuffled Wang off the racetrack enough to drop a wheel. That dropped him back to the 5th position, I believe, at the time. And then that shuffling allowed RJD, Renato Jader David, to be able to drive away to the victory. The fight for second happened behind him in the final few corners. Roberts had the position briefly. Barrios made a move at the pit turn right there where everybody was watching at the pits or at the grid area.
Yep.
And made a late move inside, kind of caught Roberts off guard a little bit as he tried to do the over-under, kind of spun the rear around on the cart. So it got sideways as he was sitting there. So that ended his race or his chance at the podium. That allowed Barrios to go on to take the second position. Miguel Mir ended up crossing the line in third, but a pushback bumper penalty dropped him down to 5th. That moved Derek Wang back up to the podium in third, and then Adam Pettit with a solid run in the 4th position.
A nice job for the solo kart driver, Adam Pettit, and David Hard Charger. Laurentiu Mardan started 26th, up 14 positions to 12th. Do you remember what happened to Mardan to put him back and to the tail of the field?
Yeah, Mardan was involved in a wreck at the start of the pre-final. I talked to him. He said in warm up, the kart was amazing. I couldn't wait to get out there and race. And then the wreck at the start of the pre-final screwed that idea up. And so had to come from the tail of the field, was able to get up to the 12th position. I thought he could have got a few more, but wasn't able to do that, and was just short of the top 10.
All right, folks, breaking the action right now, just wrapping things up. When we get back, time to hit the cadet categories. We'll cap things off with this race report brought to you by the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy, Mini Swift and Micro Swift up next.
Located in Mooresville, North Carolina, on-site at GoPro Motorplex, Kart Sport North America features over 6,000 square feet of retail space. Along with being the official race team and distributor for the Kart Republic chassis, they offer full retail sales, kart service and storage, and products from the top brands in the sport, such as CZ Chain, Talon Sprockets, SKF bearings, and Prisma tire gauges. If you want to take your racing to the next level, they also offer driver training and coaching programs available trackside at GoPro Motorplex. They have a massive inventory, so head to their online store at kartsportna.com to get same-day shipping of the parts and components that you need. While you're there, check out their used section of karts, engines, parts, and accessories. Kart Sport North America. Top quality products, winning brands, and professional driver development services.
Powered by technology, DID racing chains have a worldwide reputation for superior quality and reliability. Meticulously engineered and manufactured in Japan, DID genuine parts are the world's #1 original parts supplier for Japanese and European motorcycle manufacturers. A rich racing tradition where results speak for themselves, DID prides itself on engineering the most technologically advanced chains on the market to help you excel on and off the track. DID's SDH pin treatment creates an extremely hard chromium carbide layer on the pin surface that houses a soft inner core to absorb extreme shock loads. DID's 219 HTZ racing chain boasts this SDH pin technology, which leads to longer chain life as well as excellent energy transmission to the wheels. Available in the gorgeous gold, the 219 HTZ is the ultimate racing kart chain. Pick up a DID chain at your local dealer today, because when winning is the only thing that matters, go with DID. Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network, episode 80 of the EKN Debrief. David Cole giving us a deep dive review of the USPKS round at Newcastle Motorsports Park. David, let's jump into Mini Swift right now, and here's your headline. Johnson takes first as Vidmontien earns second on season.
Yeah, again, more first on the weekend, and we got to experience a first-time winner in the Mini Swift division. Diego Ardiles, who was very impressive in Ocala, was able to come up to Newcastle and set fast time in qualifying, and what I believe was his first time at the facility. In pre-final, it was Oliver Weldon, though, who came across the line as the winner. Main event time, multiple leaders. Again, no real racecraft, just drivers trying to be the leader. A lot of jostling for position, a little bit of contact, some drivers losing the lead pack, some others coming back up to the lead pack, a little bit of craziness all over the place. On the final circuit, Enzo Vidmontien was leading, but at the Monza turn was passed by Kai Johnson and Sebastian Weldon. Weldon then made his move at the blue corner for the lead, and then essentially went into defense mode, essentially through the final corners. As they came to the last corner, however, as he was looking behind him, he left just enough room for Kai Johnson to kind of dive inside at the final corner, and just enough real estate to get in there and be able to get to the apex first. That allowed him to power away to the checkered flag to be able to cross the line first ahead of Sebastian Weldon. Vidmontien ended up finishing in third. Asher Osteen was a solid drive to fourth with the micro graduate, with John Antonino finishing in fifth, up 12 spots in the 14-lap race.
Overall, to the hard charger, or Braden Zervis on the Merlin, up 17 positions, 36 starting position, where he was able to drive his way up into the top 20 into 19th. Johnson, as you said, with the win, David, on Saturday, but Tyler Roberts coming out of the gate on the Parallel qualified P1 on Sunday.
Yeah, again, a number of drivers showed a lot of speed throughout the weekend. Roberts came through with fast time. Just a little bit of shuffling in the pre-final and main event allowed and kind of pushed him out of the top 5. So wasn't able to end up where he wanted to finish on the weekend. In the pre-final, Vid Montien looked like he was the more experienced driver out of the entire group. Essentially got up front and just kind of walked away. Did that in the pre-final to a little bit of advantage, but that certainly grew in the main event. Got a little bit of a fight early on. Sarah Bradley was the only other driver to lead in the main event, taking the lead from Vid Montien for one lap before he took it back over and was able to drive away as they fought behind him for the second position. After 14 laps, ended up with a 4.3 second margin of victory.
Yeah, nobody working together, right?
That's essentially what it was. I mean, again, Kai Johnson started in the 12th spot, was able to move up 10 positions to finish runner-up. Just a lot of shuffling throughout the 14 laps. Nobody really working together. Jack Iliff, last year's micro champion, was able to get his first podium, even though he wasn't there for the podium ceremonies. At least he'll get the hardware for that third place finish. Indy Reagan with best finish of 4th on the weekend, as Oliver Weldon ended up finishing in the 5th spot.
A good run for Asher Osteen on Saturday, coming home P4. He's actually the hard charger on Sunday. A pre-final wreck dropped him to 34th. He had to work his way back up to 6 positions. 28 position improvement for Asher Osteen. Good for the championship points. But again, as David said, Vid Montien with a pretty dominant win, 4.3 seconds to cap off the action in Mini Swift. Let's move to Micro Swift. Final class to talk about here in the Race Report, brought to you by the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy. Here's the headline: weekend sweep for Toniolo.
It was certainly a dominating performance on the weekend for Augustus Toniolo, never relinquishing the top spot all weekend long.
In all 6 sessions?
All 6 sessions. Qualified on pole both days, winning the pre-final both days, never relinquishing the top spot.
Man, good job for the Rawlson Performance Group driver. That's amazing.
Yeah, just certainly had the setup perfectly all weekend long. Never put a wheel wrong. Wow. Did very well on the weekend. Saturday was essentially a 2.5 second victory in the 14 lap race as he led wire to wire. Keelan Harvick was able to score the second position over Route 66 Sprint Series race winner Ethan Tovo. Caleb Tarter and Brady Shad made it 4 nitro karts in the top 5 on Saturday.
Wow. Good day for them. How about Sunday? Again, as you said, Toniolo sweeping everything. So he was top qualifier, won the pre-final, 3.7 seconds to win, and a wire-to-wire run in the final. Who finished off the top 5 behind Toniolo?
Yeah, again, another fight for the second position behind him. This time on Sunday, it was Alessandro Truchot aboard the Parolin who was able to beat out Harvick for that second spot. Gianmatteo Rousseau was right there in 4th, with Ashton Woon getting a good finish in the 5th position.
Let's have a look at the 2 hard chargers. Hard charger in the Saturday race for Micro Swift, the Canadian Rocco Simoni for Burrell Art, 13 spot, started 35th and worked his way to 22nd. Hard charger on Sunday, J.J. O'Neill up 15 spots, 30th to 15th. Overall, David, in Micro Swift, you mentioned at the very start, cleaner racing in this category. So not the DNFs that some of the guys in the back can capitalize on when working forward.
No, a lot of good clean racing throughout the pack in both Saturday and Sunday in this category. So, and especially when you get the numbers above 30 in this category, you'd think you'd have a little bit more carnage, but these drivers certainly observing and keeping aware of what's around them and keeping things clean and safe.
Nicely done. All right, guys, last break in this podcast. When we come back, we'll wrap things up. Dave will give us a rundown through the Constructors' Championship, and we'll tell you what's going on the EKN Trackside Live Race Calendar. In racing, experience is priceless. Franklin Motorsports is a leader in the karting industry with over 50 years of combined karting experience, and we can provide you with everything you need to go racing. With a large online product selection, select track support events, and a wide variety of shop services, Franklin Motorsports is your complete karting source. Check out our online store at www.franklinkart.com, where all our products are just a mouse click away. We're constantly adding to the growing product selection on the online store, and we ship daily to ensure products get to you quickly. We specialize in IAME engines, tilt seats, ceramic products, driveline branded products, Briggs & Stratton engines, OTK products, and of course, the championship-winning Merlin chassis. In our online store, you'll find a variety of items to fill your karting needs. Franklin Motorsports is also known for our wide variety of services and is home to Innovative Engine Works by FMS, our in-house engine service department. Frame straightening, kart prep, and dyno testing are all services offered regularly at Franklin Motorsports. For all things karting, visit franklinkart.com.
Wins at the sport's biggest races and championships across all levels of karting make up the resume for Nitro Kart. The Nitro Kart has made its statement as the best, fastest, and most reliable cadet chassis on the North American karting market. The 2021 Cadet is the evolution of that success, featuring the latest development and components to put you at the front. If you want to win in Cadet, get a Nitro Kart and join the team. The Nitro Kart Cadet claimed 5 victories at the SCUSA Pro Tour, including the Mini Swift Championship in 2020. At the United States Pro Kart Series, Nitro Kart Cadet earned 5 wins and 14 podiums in mini and micro competition. For a second straight year, Nitro Kart won the U.S. Rotax Grand Nationals in the Minimax division, bringing the title total to 4 in 4 years. If you've seen it on track, it certainly caught your eye. Dominating the 4-cycle world is the Nitro Kart Lefty chassis. The chassis is designed for the Briggs & Stratton 206 engine with a left side mount for better weight distribution. The Lefty is available in cadet and full-size frames. The Nitro Kart Lefty won the CKNA Grand Nationals 4 in both sportsman and junior categories, with fast time in qualifying for the senior division. Drivers with the Lefty were ranked number 1 in the Briggs & Stratton Weekly Racing Series for junior and cadet divisions. Team Nitro Kart will be at all major events in 2021 with programs tailored to every driver's needs. Focused on driver development, the cadet program under Team Nitro Kart has helped develop some of today's stars, including Brent Cruz, Parker DeLong, Ben Mayer, and Spencer Conrad. Visit Nitro Kart online and find them on Facebook and Instagram.
Welcome back to our final segment here on this edition of the EKN Debrief. I'm Rob Howden, joined by David Cole, who was trackside at the USPKS Heartland Grand Prix last weekend at Newcastle Motorsports Park. David, wrap it all up for us here.
Again, second largest event in the 9-year history of the series. It was certainly a big weekend. Probably one of the biggest races we've seen at least 2-cycle races we've seen at the Newcastle Motorsports Park. Watching all 60 karts out there for the KA 100 senior division, it made me think of the Robopong days. And I'm like, maybe we need to move the Robopong to KA 100 in the future.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
So maybe if schedules would clear out a little bit, it would work. But as of right now, I just don't see it happening anytime soon. But certainly gets the ideas flowing a little bit in the
food
head.
for thought.
Yeah, yes. Exactly. Yep. Again, nearly $14,000 handed out on a weekend to the X30 Pro and X30 Junior categories, plus the 6 sets of MG tires for the 3 drivers in each division, finishing on the money podium. A little bit of a break now in the schedule for at least for USPKS, as we're not back on track until July for stop number 3 in Road America. So certainly some time for people to regroup and see where they are before the summer months hit us.
All right, David, give us a rundown. What chassis were able to find success at Newcastle?
Well, certainly Cosmic had a lot of success on the weekend. As we just talked about with Augusta Tonio getting 2 victories in micro, Ryan Norberg, a number of other drivers earning victories on the Cosmic brand, 6 in total for the Cosmic chassis, 2 on the Red Speed, along with 2 on Tony Kart. So a total of 10 for the OTK brands. Kart Republic picking up 2 victories on the weekend with Burrell Art and Bennick, each earning 1.
All right, let's move into the EKN Trackside Live race calendar, this time brought to you by Margay Racing. Are you interested in running a kart at one of the biggest karting events in 2021? Do you want to be part of the fastest growing series in the sport? Check out Margay Racing's Spec Ignite class and their Arrive and Drive packages. Nothing matches the affordability and competitive level of the Ignite program. It's just one set of tires, national level caliber drivers, where the best driver wins over the best equipment. Bring your safety gear and Margay will take care of the rest. This year's remaining Ignite majors include the Grand Prix of Quincy in June and the WK Manufacturers Cup at Newcastle in September. And there are 5 Ignite Challenge series running around the country this season. For more information, please visit ignitekarting.com today. Get off the couch and into a race seat in 2021. All right, David, EKN Trackside Live race calendar. We kind of give a little preview of where we're going to be going over the next little while. You mentioned a break in the action because really we only have 2 races into May and through to the start of July. Nothing in June. May 21, 22, 23, just a couple of weeks away. You and I back together again. The Superkarts USA Pro Tour heading back to the Utah Motorsports campus. The Spring Nationals in Grantsville, Utah. Again, great numbers at the Winter Nats, and you'll be back on the Pro Tour having missed the race there at NOLA. Looking forward to getting back to Utah.
Reunited and it feels so good.
Oh, yeah.
I wish I could sing more. That's it. That's all I got.
That's all you need. So we're back to the Spring Nats. That's going to be a good trip to Utah. And you mentioned, David, after that, little break, right? Almost 6 weeks until you head up to the Badger State Grand Prix for the USPKS at SeaTech Manufacturing Motorplex in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Got to say, I'm a little jealous. I'd like to be at that race.
Oh, man, I love going there. Going last year, Labor Day weekend, kind of refreshed that. Oh man, this is a great racetrack.
It's a great racetrack.
It's, you got to go there in the early years of it with, I think, the Stars of Karting.
Yeah, Graham Rahal was a winner.
So now, I did a couple of Manufacturer Cup races there. I didn't quite. I think maybe because half my brain was on the road racing side of things.
That's right.
I didn't really appreciate the sprint side of the facility. So, but being there, that racetrack is certainly amazing to be part of. Certainly not flat. Either you're going up the hill or you're going down the hill. And the grip level is certainly different from anywhere you've ever raced at. So it should be a good weekend. And again, we'll probably get numbers above the 200 mark, being the first big race in the summer months with the early July date. So after everybody gets to celebrate the 4th of July, everybody gets packed up and heads up to the Badger State and Seepkins and all that fun stuff at Road America.
Everything. Yeah. If you're a USPKS racer, don't miss this one. Dave was talking about 200. There was 270 at Newcastle Motorsports Park. Stick with it. Keep on the momentum. See if you can top 250 at SeaTech Manufacturing Motorplex at Road America. Just an amazing place to go. Great area, great trip. And we hope everybody enjoys themselves there. Again, that'll be part of the EKN Trackside Live program presented by Cooper Tires. And we are done for this edition of the Debrief. David Cole giving us a deep dive into the last event of the USPKS series at Newcastle. And again, lots more to come here on the EKN Radio. Thank you so much, folks, for tuning in. On behalf of David Cole, my name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.